Alright there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Games Show. And you know what? The video game industry, it's got a lot of secrets. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, mate? There's a lot of secrets about titles that are way, way off in the distance that we know next to nothing about. There's some pretty shady practices that we definitely should know more about and try and put a stop to. And of course, there are video game enemies that are hiding secrets of their very own. And no, I'm not talking about how the perfectly preserved piece of pie from Fallout 4 was secretly a synth. Gasp! That's just a little conspiracy theory I've got going there. But about video game enemies that looked completely unassuming before then booting your ribcage in the moment a battle started. So let's celebrate these meek-looking minions that turned out to be monstrously overpowered. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 8 video game enemies that were secretly OP. And you know the drill by now, this is the deep cut with Jules Gill, baby! So that means that there's going to be talk about video games that you need to know more about, ones you haven't thought about in ages, or some you just don't even know at all. And by the way, just for the record, setting it straight here, not talking about the Tombury from the Final Fantasy series, because it's too bloody obvious. It's too bloody obvious. So let's kick things off with number 8. The Poo Snake from Blue Dragon. Okay then, friends, let's start chatting utter shit about a little dump of an enemy, the humble and stanky serpent-based bowel movement known as the Poo Snake from Blue Dragon. Now these are, without a doubt, the weakest enemies in the game, and most players will flush these little turds down within moments of the battle starting. However, there is a little sweet core nugget of pure spite within the Poo Snake, because if you fail to dispatch this humble little smelly enemy quickly, or it uses its cool allies ability too many times, then you could be staring down the barrel of a very, very delightfully horrible enemy that even the great mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day would think twice about. This, my friends, is the Jumbo Poo Snake, an utter bog clogger of an enemy that can obliterate your party in moments thanks to its aged vomit attack. And you know what's even more disgusting than a giant monster made of cax splashing vomit all over your sandals? The fact that these can appear in the opening hours of the game and your party will be woefully underprepared for it. You're gonna die, thanks to this thing. So the next time you see a Poo Snake, waffle stomp it down the drain before his mates show up and then smash a porcelain throne over your head. Number 7, the Skull Eater, Final Fantasy V. I tell you, all this talk about venomous pink Poo Snakes has got my blood feeling a bit fizzy. Let's all just calm down for a moment, right, and talk about nature's little acrobat, the squirrel. Oh, look at them. Oh, what a lovely jump. Great form there. Oh, look at him chewing on them nuts. I know that fit. Oh, no, not the nutkin from Final Fantasy V. Why would you do this to me? No! Applause. What's this? Thank you very much. Best dramatic scene in 2023. I do deserve this. Thank you. It's actually my second place trophy from a Warhammer event I went to. Anyway, back on track, let's talk about another terror who's been parading around under the guise of a sweet woodland critter, the Nutkin, or more specifically, a variant of them that pops up in certain areas of Final Fantasy V. Now, this version is known as the Skull Eater, which rightly should put the willies right up you, because that is not exactly a chill name, is it? Oh, darling, come here. Have you met my partner before, Skull Taker? Yes, these are the ecologists that I was telling you about, that are studying seed samples. Yes, this is Al and Janine. Yes, this is Skull Taker.
Yes, Skull Taker. What an interesting name. Do you have family in Marseille? Do you summer in Venice? Do you wash your clogs in Berlin?
However, what makes this a little confusing is that the Skull Takers only have 1 HP, and since you've been battling the Nutkin in early areas of this game that are about as deadly as being slapped with a single wet square of toilet paper, it feels like this is a mocking name given to ridicule the beast even further. Yet more fool you if you think that this little nutsack is going to go down quickly, as its attacks can kill most party members in 1 hit, and thanks to its insane defense and stats, it means that dealing 1 measly hit point is actually incredibly tough. Oh, plus, by the way, if you hit this beast with magic, 5 more will appear. This is a battle that won't just take the wind out of an adventuring party, but will gut punch them so hard that they'll be gasping for breath. So long story short, never ever ever rustle this guy's nuts. And speaking of nuts, it's actually crazy that you're not actually subscribed to the FGS YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, mate, we'll save each other the embarrassment here. Why don't you just click the subscribe button right now? Hit the notification bell as well. You know, just do that thing. Just for me. Just me. Or not just for me, actually. It's also my friends who make content on this channel as well. And if you do all of that, then you will be staying up to date with all of our daily gaming content and the weekly deep cut with Jules Gill. Oh, baby. So come on, do your fella a favor. You've done it? Thank you very much. Big kiss on the head for you. Mwah! Anyway, let's get on with this, mate, by talking about number 6, deadly rabbits from various games. Now I want to slow down the pace of this video just for a moment and talk about one of my first ever pets, Snowy the rabbit. What an absolute legend. He'd always just sit on my lap and be content to be stroked as I watched Saturday morning cartoons as a kid. Absolute big ledge. Problem was, he was also a f***ing arsehole to absolutely everyone else. If my mum or dad tried to pick him up, he would just like thumper kick his way straight into their chest until they put him back down again. I was the only one that could carry him anywhere. So my parents would be like, yeah, we need to clean the hutch, Jules. We're putting you in the firing line. And I was like, what firing line? This is fine. But obviously he's a white rabbit, but he had red eyes. So my mum was just like, oh, he's quite evil looking, isn't he? And I was like, he's cool. He's chill, man. You chill. Anyway, as such, I've got a bit of a soft spot for killer rabbit-style enemies, especially in video games, and you know what? There are tons of them. From well-known examples like the Black Rabbite from Secret of Mana and the deadly bunny boss from Dragon's Crown, to the killer bunny from Divinity 2 that only shows up when you've murdered enough rabbits as a form of punishment. Plus there's the dragon bunnies from Gina Sisters, and of course, the supremely deep cut that is Moko Moko from lightning legend Daigo no Daiboken, who will kick your ass in seconds like the overpowered puffball tank that he is. But the funniest OP rabbit of them all, why, it is the 1964 VW rabbit that you can unlock in Forza 3, of course, obviously. And I say this because if you upgrade this unsuspecting beast enough, you can outperform top-end supercars. Why is this a thing? I don't know, but I'm very glad that it exists, and it joins the ranks of killer rabbits that you should definitely not underestimate. Number 5, the Addled Frog, Baldur's Gate 3. Now friends, it is time to talk frogs and how, thanks to a few errant likes and follows, my social media feed is now full of these beautiful little critters. There's just something about those big bulbous eyes and the sweaty oily skin that just speaks to a man like myself. Whether it's nodding along to some weird frog-centric bops, looking at artists or model painters bringing lily pad lovers to life, or just watching in horror as certain creators look to create real-life frog armies, you know what, it's all just utterly fascinating. However, a few weeks ago, another frog popped up on my radar, a deadly one in fact, because it turns out that a fair few players have fallen afoul of a tiny little frog that you can find in Baldur's Gate 3. Now you'll come across this adorable-looking creature in the sunlight wetlands fairly early on in your quest, yet engaging with it before dealing with Auntie Ethel will lead to a showdown for the ages. Now, given its rather small size, you'd likely think that battling this frog would be as easy as stepping down on it a bit hard, yet thanks to its insanely high dex and dodging ability, landing one single hit on this creature, well, it's a challenge in of itself. Yet its really deadly feature comes in the form of its reflective mucus and deadly toxins, the first of which reflects projectiles back at the caster, and the latter causes attackers to go mad if they fail a constitution saving throw. Now this potent combination can mean that your party can go in there just going, we'll squash this little frog, only to turn on each other and start tearing lumps out of each other. It's bad times, and it's not uncommon to go online and find stories of entire party kills by this tiny little addled frog. And so players soon realised that it was a wise idea to leave this critter alone, or at least until they dealt with the swamp hag, because if you come back, it gives you treasure. Yes! The frogs that just keep on giving, mate. Number 4, a P0 Golem, Enchanted Arms. Now come with me, friends, as we take a little trip to the world of the Xbox 360, and of the weird time that Microsoft was looking along the lines of video games coming out for its console and just were like, where are the bloody RPGs? Let's just buy everyone in. Come on boys, let's go. Let's get some grime fests. And alongside Lost Odyssey and Infinite Undiscovery was a little terror known as Enchanted Arms, which alongside providing us with a truly brilliant example of bad voice acting and wonky pacing,
come on, wake up. Professor Cole will see you. No, I can't eat anymore.
Also gave us a fun new battle mechanic that revolved around collecting and crafting golems that kind of acted like Pokemon or support characters while you battled. And yet of all of the imposing, fearsome and gargantuan golems, one stood out as being secretly bloody OP, and that was a golem that kind of looks like just 5 pieces of candy bouncing around. It just looks like sweets. Seriously, there is no better way to describe what the Golem AP0 actually looks like. Look at it. It looks absolutely adorable. However, once you take a look at their moveset, you'll see how incredibly devastating they can be. And this is down to the fact that their skills, Mega Link and Life Vacuum, cover all areas of the battle arena, meaning whether they're boosting your team's combo potential or sucking the life out of your enemies, while also healing AP0, you never need to worry about placement. So just stick them on the backline and hoover the arena clean to your heart's content. Plus, it makes for this absolutely hilarious moment if you keep them in your party until the late game, where the big bad is just spouting all like, I will destroy the universe, I will control everything, and you've just got these little gummy bears just going like, sup, you're gonna die. Number 3, Ayame, Genma Onimusha. Now, the world of Onimusha is a strange one indeed. Here you've got feudal Japanese samurai facing off against demon kings, the undead, and there's even a sprinkling of time-traveling Frenchmen cropping up in the later entries. Therefore, you should always expect the unexpected. However, I don't think that fans could have ever been prepared for the likes of Ayame. Now, at first glance, this porcelain doll over here looks about as threatening as a hug from your nan, but as we've all found out from the likes of Chucky and the AI that's going into some of the kids' toys nowadays, these little dolls can be pure evil. Evil, I say. Appearing in Genma Onimusha, which was a re-release of the original game for the OG Xbox, Ayame could be encountered by Samanusuke whilst exploring a shrine, and there he picks up the doll and muses that there's nothing too unusual about it. Before things take a turn for the actually, you'll find that it's very unusual, mate, as Ayame floats up into the air before revealing her true face, as well as a pair of massive claws. Okay, so first off, the giant claws feature right here never would make it through product testing. That is an eye-poking nightmare for the young kids that this is designed for, right? But still, you probably think to yourself, right, okay, it's just a doll. I'll just boot it in the face. Just get my size 10s and just mush its little face in. Take some of that, mate. But then it starts spinning around like a goddamn Beyblade. Let it rip! Rip you in two! It will absolutely obliterate your life bar in seconds if you're not prepared. And even if you make it through that initial onslaught, then she starts trying to bite your bloody neck. The idea here is to flee the fight, as there's no way that you're meant to really be taking her on here straight away without considerable effort or through some serious new game plus farming. However, if you do, this little terror appears at different points in the game like the bloody nemesis from RE3. Honestly, from something so small and unassuming, this is OP. Number 2, the Exploding Cows, Fallout 2. Now, I won't lie, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of enemies in the Fallout franchise that deck you in seconds. You've got the Mirelurks, you've got the Deathclaws, and then you've got your favourite cup of battery acid with a side order of a metal saw blade biscuit, the Cazadors from Fallout New Vegas. Ooh. Yet you know what? All of these enemies scream danger from their monstrous designs, their horrifying battle cries, and of course, because half of them are bigger than your bloody fridge. I tell you what, it's a question of why anyone bothers going outside these settlements at all when these things are roaming about. I tell you what, it's just best to stay put, where the only animal sounds that you'll hear here are the occasional moos from the friendly Brahmin. Well, that is unless you're playing on Fallout 2, where those moos can turn to booms. I almost made a Boo Earns joke because it's impossible not to do that thing if you watch that Simpsons episode. Boom! Soon, because some of these cows, they explode. While exploring the wasteland, you might come across a special encounter where at first it appears to be just you alone in an arid patch of land with a bunch of cows. Yet before you start learning how to blow jugs and get fitted for some farming overalls, the cows advance on you and, in a rather surprising moment, explode, killing you instantly. It turns out that these were mad Brahmin, and whatever set them on their path to destruction has also dialed up their explosive rating from a clean 0 to 100%. And seeing as this is a one-hit kill, it actually makes them one of the most devastating enemies in the bloody game. And number 1, Sabu, Renegade for the Nayers. And so we end on a cut as deep as the protagonist of this game's hair is awesome. We're talking about Renegade for the NES, or NES. And even though this game is kind of similar to Double Dragon and Final Fight, the reason that we're talking about this oft-forgotten brawler today is because of its final boss, Sabu. Now, as a final boss, you'd expect Sabu to have a few tricks up his sleeve to turn the tide in his favour, and you'd likely enter this fight prepared to cover your eyes lest he throw sand in them, and maybe with like 7 belts on in case he tries to pull your trousers down in front of the school cafeteria. However, you probably weren't expecting him to just straight up pull out a gun and shoot you in the top of the head. Okay. I didn't see it. I did not see that coming. Although maybe you probably should, because he's like a mafioso style boss, so probably he's going to be packing. But still, this is a video game, damn it. There are etiquette rules to follow. Everyone knows the drill. Goons get either bare hands or maybe a stick if they've been on an extended training program, and maybe there'll be 1 or 2 enemies that can throw like a bottle or a rock at you. Therefore, to see Sabu pull out a piece and go all Frank Reynolds on you is quite alarming, to say the least, especially when it's a one-shot kill. Again, I probably shouldn't be that surprised. It is a literal bullet to the dome, but still. So yeah, Sabu is secretly overpowered compared to the rest of his grunts, even if we really should have seen it coming. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video game enemies that were secretly OP. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me here on the social medias, and I hope that you drop me a little message telling me how you're looking forward to Christmas, my friend. Hope you get all the presents and that you've been good, not only to yourself in general, but also just in the wider sense of the word. And that leads me into my final thought of this thing here, because even though we spoke today about video game enemies that were secretly OP, you, my friend, are also secretly OP. The only way that you've got to unlock this massive power of overpowering positivity, OP, is just to be kind to yourself. Just remember that you are a massive ledge and that you deserve love and success and respect. We all do as human beings on this planet. So remember, be kind to yourself, go out there, be kind to other people, keep that spreading, and eventually society maybe will get a bit better. Fingers crossed, right? As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.